what was it called? The blue Beyond Blue Yonder.
Wild Blue Yonder.
Wild Blue Yonder.
Hello?
Where are we?
Oh, life science.
What are they?
I thought I'm not a big fan of the solo, like figured out. Like the only one I truly enjoy that kind of did that, and not really solo, was the Onyx episode where they're in that train, and that they're the lady starts mimicking.
You be careful.
Taking a big space truck with a bunch of strangers across a diamond planet called Midnight? What could possibly go wrong?
Enjoy a trip.
Oh, I can't wait.
What the hell is making that noise? Oh, it's shutting the door.
There is no it.
What is it? Just tell me what the hell it is. Down!
We're going to get out of this, then you need me.
Oh, you're so special.
2 people are dead.
Don't make it a third.
It's coming for me. It's coming for me.
What?
So funny you bring that up, because that is the episode that this gets compared to. That they're just saying that it's semi a repeat. Yeah, it's a bottle episode.
Yep.
It's a bottle episode, and it's supposed to have maybe slightly less production value and have less stuff going on in it, so that they could save up budget for the big thing that they needed to do with the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have it on more of a minuscule set. The CGI, I would say, of the ship kind of took me out of the scene a little bit. I think because the ship was so grandiose, like you can't really have the stage set for that. But the idea is that it often gets compared to Midnight.
Right, at Midnight. Thank you. Yeah, that's what it was. Like the reason why, I'm like, what do they want? What are these? Because I never understood what they wanted, what their plight was, what their goal was. I'm like, but why are you doing this? Like, why are we here? Why are you guys here? Why are you mimicking him to what end? Like, I don't think they ever explained what that reason was.
Well, I don't think it's ever explicitly stated, but it's inferred. But I think we'll get into that in a second. So, the episode starts off with them being trapped on the ship because the TARDIS is so scared, and this rarely happens. The TARDIS ran away.
You can get it back, though. Doctor, you can get it back. Doctor, you can get the TARDIS back, can't you? Use the sonic.
It was in the keyhole.
But you can whistle. You could snap your fingers. You could summon it. Just use that stupid head of yours and get it back.
Yeah.
From whatever pulled them. And that to me started being like, oh crap, what the frack is on this ship? So I'm like, okay. So it starts off that way. And then you're like, there's puzzles.
Yeah.
Little bits, maybe a clue here, maybe a clue here as to what's going on. And then all of a sudden they can't get things working, right? The doctor then tries to use his smarts, being like, go do this. I'm going to leave you, setting up for something to happen.
And
And
that
then
was
from there,
all hell breaks loose, and that's where I'm like, okay. But I'm like, I just was just like, okay, cool, like, oh, because even they're like, oh yeah, what kind of pissed me off about it was that they gave themselves away. Was like, oh yeah, my arm's too long. Like, what do you mean?
The system should be swimming right now. Those rectangles, did you move all of them up?
My arms are too long.
It is a bit fiddly. Could you pop back and finish it?
My arms are too long.
Okay. You all right?
My arms too long. Look.
It's okay. I'm here. I've got you. Whatever this is, we can... Are you Donna?
But your arm's too long. And then he goes, you're this weird thing. I'm like, wait, what? You're like, why would you say that? Like,
I mean, so the idea is that they don't it was literally the edge of the universe,
Right.
and that is something unexplored beyond it. That is the darkness.
Okay.
And so these creatures come from the darkness. They've never interacted. Humans have never been that close to the edge of the universe ever. That was the first ship to ever do it.
Okay.
So these creatures get on board. They have no idea what these people are. They don't know how to emulate them.
Mhm.
They know they want to be a part of it because they've heard, I wanted to say, the echoes and the screams and everything like that, and they wanted to do that. And they knew the ship was their way to get there. But obviously they didn't know how to emulate the behavior. And so the way that they did that was through fear. And I like a good psychological thriller, and I thought this did a good job because the idea is that everything is based on dialogue.
Yeah.
And the banter back and forth and trying to figure it out and all that stuff. And the idea that the arms are too long, that's the giveaway. You know that they're learning, but it's not quite there. And that's the idea, is that as the episode goes, they progress. How do they do that though?
Mm-hmm.
They're basing it off the adrenal gland. And how do you get that adrenal gland to work? It's fear.
Yep.
So they need to frighten them into thinking. And that's how they steal away their behaviors and their memories.
And that was cool to see, but as I say, I'm like I just felt like I saw this, but it was done better in Midnight. I'm like, this is just to me, it was a less version of Midnight. It's a strong episode. But,
well, and that's the thing is with Midnight though too, is you have this set of characters,
mm-hmm.
and because it's just the Doctor and Donna, it is hard to bounce off a lot of that stuff, because in Midnight there was also a lot of aggression and violence and real human emotion. Whereas a lot of that in this episode got tempered down because Donna's the only human.
And she already knows what's happening too, because he's got the Doctor with him, who she's been on these travels. Yeah. So it's like, that's why I'm like, I'm gonna give it lesser than. I mean, it was good. It was just not. That was my basic complaint. I'm like, it's a lesser version because of what you just said too. It's like, this is why we're all here. Like, just to me.
Well, and here's the big reason for this episode. It was really just. There's 2 points for it,
mm-hmm.
and this was a setup episode. What did he do to try to trick them?
I just thought too before we started filming. What was it? I forgot.
When he poured the salt down the line and said, "Can't cross this." And then what did he say? What was his biggest fear? What did he just do?
Superstition.
That he invoked a superstition at the edge of the universe,
mm-hmm.
and something bad was going to happen. And that is the entire setup for the next episode. So it wasn't so much, I think, about this episode, although the banter was good, the dialogue was good. The concept overall, I do think, suffered a little bit as being kind of like that. But it was just it was an hour-long setup for the next episode.
And that's why I think it was the weaker, in my opinion, no, I disagree. I lied. It's still better, but I'm like, it's a lesser Midnight. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think about it, but you're right. It was a setup for the next episode, which I love that episode. I saw that so many times. That week it came out.
I think it's so well done. I mean, so obviously bringing it back, and I was scared because I wasn't sure if they were to bring him back. So obviously, the superstition happens. He almost fracks up, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he wasn't quite sure, but it was the first time, and you knew it wasn't going to happen, and you were curious how he was going to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But he picks the wrong Donna.
What is it?
Who's the head of the choir?
This is me!
And why is Mrs. Bean funny?
Because it's the name of a vegetable given to a woman. It just is. No! Doctor, come back! She's not me! I'm me! You've got the wrong one!
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good scare. I'm like, you're like, wait, what? Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was awesome.
But you think he picks the right one.
Yep.
Initially, I thought he picked the right one, and I was like,
too.
okay, they're safe. And then all of a sudden, you realize, like 5 seconds later, uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think, is what made this episode, honestly, to that point, really good. Because she's now you're feeling the human emotion in the episode. She doesn't think she's going to get out of this.
Yeah.
Like, she is preparing to die at this point. And, like, I think that's what kind of redeems the episode a little bit. I do think we forgot to mention something at the beginning, though. And this is curious, because I know we're not going to talk about this episode, but it does keep getting brought up, is this whole Isaac Newton thing.
I mean, they kind of reference it too, because he says, "What did you call that? Gravity?" And then he can think, "Well, the Mavity." They kept saying Mavity, and they brought it up in other episodes too.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and that's also a lot of theories about this. Is that the Doctor can sense disturbances in the timeline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he initially said gravity, but then switched it to Mavity. Oh, you're right, Mavity. So, is he just going along with it until he fixes it? Is something going on with these timelines that he cannot sense anymore? Like that was an interesting statement. He called it gravity and then made the conscious decision or subconscious decision or unconscious decision to then switch it to Mavity.
So, we're not gonna talk about this episode, but in the Christmas episode, that the new Doctor calls it Mavity too. So I have a feeling it's going to come back.
It has to. I mean, there's and that's what makes Davies, I think, the better writer, is the way that he does things over season. But it's not overly done. It's not drawn out. It's hints here and there. I mean, you have Bad Wolf. I mean, that was there since, like, oh gosh, what, episode 2 or 3?
Episode 2, I believe.
Bad Wolf, like, I mean, you're talking about all this. Yes, it was, because it was episode 2. Good call. But yeah, it's just interesting, and I think a lot of people didn't really like that scene itself.
Yeah,
at the beginning, it felt a little bit out of place. I thought it was humorous and funny, and I enjoyed it, but I know a lot of people didn't particularly like it.
I know there's a big backlash about it because the actor who portrayed Isaac Newton was mixed or not fully white or whatever. I'm like, dude, like it's a science fiction show about time travel. Come on. But
yeah, and yeah, and I get it. It's hard to want to be more inclusionary, and I mean, I feel it. You know, I mean, realistically, as we'd like to, I'd like to get more positive Mexican representation out there to represent people. You know, there was never anybody that was like, you know, and I'm white, but obviously I identify as Mexican. It's one of those things where who was the only characters that you saw? Well, it was always the bad kids. It was always the gangs. It was always these rough and tough guys in these wife beater T-shirts. Like
always the cholos. Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, I know.
So there's no actual representation out there. And so, yes, blah, blah, blah. Like you have that, but you know, you do need to get that representation out there somehow. And like, obviously doing it in a history show can't always be done.
Exactly. I have a feeling he's going to come back. I have a feeling we're going to see that again.
I would love to see that. again, and you know what I think would almost make it funnier is that there was another actor then to play him the next time, and like no, but like to the point where like that's why things got messed up was that they're in like they were actually in somehow they transferred to a different universe,
Mhm.
and it's all actually in a different universe,
Ooh.
and that's why it got messed up with the Mavity and something like that, and that's not what's going to happen. That's so far out there, but it's like it's just one of those things that well maybe that's why he was mixed.
But it has happened before in the past in Doctor Who, where they've gone to different universes. Like I think it was in
Yes,
the second season, and
it
then
was the
also,
second season where you're talking. It was the Cyberman one. Yeah,
yeah, where Rose's dad was still alive, and then there was also the one where it's the Matt Smith era, where there's Led Zeppelins and dinosaurs, and I think England lost World War II, and the Germans had one. Well, there's alternate timelines, different universe, so it probably can happen. It probably
yeah.
will happen. I don't know if it will happen, but it's happened before in Doctor Who, so I won't be surprised if that happens again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But we go to the end of the episode, and lo and behold, who's there?
Oh, my goodness, Donna! Oh, my goodness, Donna!
I said so.
Wilfred Mott. Oh, now I feel better. Now nothing is wrong. Nothing in the whole wide world. Hello, me old soldier.
I never thought I'd see you again after all these years. Oh, Doctor, that lovely face. It's like springtime.
Oh man, rest in peace, Bernard Cribbins, Wilfred Mott, the GOAT.
The go, dude.
Just-
I get cheered up. I'm like, oh my god, I get cheered up when I saw that guy. I'm like, dude, he's still alive. I know he's not, but I'm like,
Well,
there he is.
But I mean, so that wraps that up, and then all of a sudden, pandemonium breaks out.
All right.
And
Before
we're
we
like,
move on,
what's going on?
what do you give the second episode? What are you gonna rate it?
Oh goodness! So I gave the other one a 4. I'd probably give this like a 4.2
See,
out of 5.
I'll give it a 3. I'll give it 3 out of 5 because I'm like, dude, this is like I said. Overall, it's a lesser midnight.
Oh, so you only give this like a 6 out of 10 though? Like, as in, like this is a terrible episode.
No, it wasn't bad. It was just like I'm like I've seen it done better.
Okay, for comparison, okay, what would you rate something like Blink?
I would give that an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10.
Okay, but okay, what about like a Hellbent?
That's a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10.
Okay,
Because for me,
trying to figure out where this rating scale is. So, according to IMDb, I think the highest rated episode is Hellbent at 9.8,
okay.
and Blink is at I think a 9.8 as well. I could be incorrect on that. No, Heaven Sent was 9.6, and then Blink I think is a 9.8. It being the highest rated. Yep, 9.8, highest rated Doctor Who episode in there. Our previous episodes, just because Starbeast rated a 7, while Blue Yonder 8.2.
Okay.
So most of the fans would say that it's a better episode. This is the one that surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we'll go over what that rating is at the end, but that surprises me and how that was rated. But it was an interesting episode to say the least.
Yeah,
it was definitely not in ways I would say traditional Doctor Who episode.
Mm-hmm. I agree. All right, so we want to jump into the next episode, the third episode of the specials. But again, thank you, Tocayos. Thank you for joining me for this. We'll see you same fracking time, same fracking channel. Frack off.